One of the many things we have seen first of this time around in 2016. Before the race swings out west to California, it stops in the Midwest. The Indiana primary is now just 3 days away. Many say it is win or go home for Republican Ted Cruz. Yesterday, Governor Mike Pence of Indiana endorsed him, but is that enough? James Giardi is a political reporter for our Fox affiliate in Indianapolis and joins us now. James, thanks for taking some time away from the trail to join us. Appreciate it. Nice to see you.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
As we look at this in the past week or so, we've seen what folks have really called two Hail Marys from Ted Cruz. One is the Mike Pence endorsement, the other being naming Carly Fiorina, in which you could say is sort of an unorthodox move for a distant second-place candidate to name his VP pick. Are either of those enough?
Well, you said the Mike Pence endorsement. Was it really an endorsement, though? He kind of preceded it with, here's who I'm voting for, but I really like Donald Trump. Hey, John Kasich's not that bad. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I'm going to vote for Ted Cruz. And then Carly Fiorina, that kind of came out of nowhere. I'll tell you, she was polling really poorly in Indiana. In fact, her one of her campaign workers actually, when she announced that she was dropping out, switched and now works for Donald Trump in Indiana. So will they work? No, I don't think they will. And I think Ted Cruz is praying for a Wisconsin-like situation here in Indiana. But you've got to think Scott Walker is no Mike Pence. He had a very strong coalition of support, has a very strong coalition of support in Wisconsin. Mike Pence just doesn't have that here. And also, Mike Pence is up for re-election in Indiana. Scott Walker had nothing to lose by throwing 110%.
Given that Pence is up for re-election, is that perhaps part of the reason as we see the governor there doing this kind of sort of endorsement on radio? You think that's one of the reasons he really hedged his bet in that endorsement, is he doesn't want to perhaps upset any of his other constituents?
100%. I mean, he needs Donald Trump supporters to get reelected here in Indiana. If he isolates them, there goes his reelection. He's facing a tough reelection campaign here. So that endorsement was just kind of a half in, half out measure of support, I guess you could call it. So no, I don't think either of those moves are enough to stop Donald Trump here in Indiana, who, by the way, the other day in Evansville had a crowd of 12,000 people. This guy draws immense numbers. All right,
so we've got your prediction, Trump in Indiana, which would be a huge win there, and obviously another nail for Ted Cruz. Moving over to the Democratic side, I understand you were at a Bernie Sanders rally, huge crowds, despite the fact that a lot of folks say that really he doesn't have a chance. What's your prediction going into Tuesday there?
So we spoke to Bernie one-on-one. He spoke at IU. He spoke at Purdue. He's hitting the college towns hard. And then he also spoke in Indy. Bernie has been talking a lot, as has Donald Trump, about Carrier. I don't know if you're familiar, but the company laying off 2,100 employees here in Indiana. He ranks incredibly high among union workers. Obviously, he's a Democrat. But the fact that he mentioned Carrier, he's really struck a chord, I think, among the working class Democrats in this state. He could do very well. He had 10,000 people, a campaign advisor told me, 10,000 people show up to a rally in Bloomington. A few thousand had to be turned away because they couldn't fit in the auditorium. So that's huge. But keep in mind, these are college kids. It's one thing if they show up to a rally to hear him speak. It's another thing, will these kids turn out to the polls? We know finals week is next week. We know a lot of college students are registered in other towns than where they actually go to school. Right. So whether or not 10,000 kids translates to 10,000 votes, we don't know. But if it does, Bernie does very well here. A Fox News poll that came out a couple of weeks ago had Hillary Clinton over Bernie by 4 percentage points. That's really nothing. That's well within the margin of error. Yeah. Bernie Sanders could do very well here in Indiana.
Well, and as you point out, same thing Sanders has been pointing out really since the beginning, since Iowa, that his game is all about turnout. Big turnout, he does well. Low turnout, he has a tougher time. Mr. Giardi, appreciate your work. Great reporting out on the trail. Look forward to hearing from you as Tuesday rolls around.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.